So thanks again to be there for these last 3 sessions of the training. Now we are going to start session number 10, and it is a session dedicated to the basic principles of the visualization. We are going to talk about the user interface in a basic way. Now, as you can see in the screen, we just have our Core Studio, okay, opened. You know that we have a lot of items in our tree. Item 3 has a lot of information, a lot of things about alarms or lamps, about DALI integration. You have seen there are many other protocols we could integrate, but we didn't have time to show you everything. But you know that we have a lot of modules that could be integrated here. HDL you were mentioning before, or also, for example, LVAR is a lighting system that we have also a driver to integrate LVAR. Other hotel management systems, other door lock systems. We can also integrate. This is an IoT protocol, also typical protocol, and many others. Okay, so our item 3 could be more sophisticated, much more complex integrations can be solved in an easy way with the BMS. So we have a lot of elements, but we have also strategies, remember, to make all these elements harmonized in the best way for our projects. In this example, we have been showing you during all these sessions, we decided to integrate KNX and BACnet signals in a structured way. So for every single room we have in our examples, we have really 8 different practical boards in KNX and also some BACnet objects that we can integrate. We did we took the decision to integrate KNX and BACnet in the same item structures that we called aliases. So we could give specific name to our items. For example, this typical on-off of a specific light. Our item ID now is insert of a folder called room, lights, and on-off of this light hall. This original item ID is also a property for us. This was this one, NETx, XIO, KNX, room, whatever, and group address, whatever. But for us, it's much more clear because we know what is the name of the light. In our item ID, it's possible to integrate texts, of course, and it's integrated in a specific room. So we will see that the variable concept is also possible to be applied here in the visualization in a more complex way even. So we will start using also this idea of the organization of the items, the item management in terms of rooms of in this example, and we will use this this idea in order to do a very fast visualization for the control of the whole rooms of the whole project itself. In this case, a whole as an example. But we have mixed it in the same folder, things that comes from KNX and things elements that comes from BACnet. That is original item is totally different. So we took this decision to take the advantage of the aliases that the BMS platform give us to structure these items also in terms of rules. So I will show you how to take advantage of this. We have all this work, let's say, already finished, and then I am going to start talking about visualization edition. Okay, so let me minimize this, and you see that we have specific icons, not only for the Core Studio that I have been showing you all these days, also the Web Manager that we have been dealing about the Web Management, alarms, trends, and all these things. But also you can see visualization editor and runtime. Okay, runtime is just for the end user to see the visualization. The editor is what we need to edit our projects in terms of design and integration of all the elements or pages that we would like to show to the end customer. It is the same tool to design a PC-based visualization to be open with this icon. Okay, visualization, but also the web visualization or web-based visualization. For example, to see this visualization in a web browser or in a smartphone or in a tablet, for example. I will show you my iPad also in the future. So you will see that the same visualization that visualization runtime icon in a PC with Windows, we can also see this visualization decided only once in our tablet, in our iPad, for example. So let me start this visualization editor. I must say also that it's not necessary to have the visualization editor in the same computer as the Core Studio. You can install the BMS platform, you can execute the installer of the BMS platform in a different computer and select customize installation and select only install, for example, in that second computer, only install the visualization part. So you will have the possibility to do the visualization edition to have these icons in a different computer than the server. So it's possible. You can install the visualization editor and runtime in another computer, of course. But in this case, we have all together in my computer here. So you will see if I open the visualization editor, okay, it's opening, and the first thing is to link this editor as a client to the server. So I will choose local connection, of course, but it could be possible to choose remote connection. So for example, I could do addition of visualization connecting this editor to my home BMS that is in a different computer. It's possible because you can also do this kind of integrations. It's opening, the software is opening, so it takes some seconds, and it's opening in a different screen. So I will move it to the screen you are. Oh no, it's opening in the right one. Okay, fantastic. So we now my visualization editor, again with a lot of windows. I have to explain a lot of these windows, but the very first thing to see is these connection properties to the core, NETx BMS core connection properties. If it's local connection, nothing to do, just say okay. If it's not a local connection, then you have to put what is the host name or the IP address of this element. The port is a VNet port. It was the same for 532. 14,532 is the port for the VNET protocol, okay, for internal NETx automation protocol, much more reliable than, for example, OPCDA, DCOM configurations and all these things. So for clustering or for connecting clients with server, it's always using this protocol. So it's an internal protocol, very much reliable than others. So password and PIN, this is also for security. Password and PIN by default is 1234. I will write it 1234. Okay, this is the password and PIN, but it can change if you have clients that has to be connected to your server, like when you are creating a cluster of servers or whatever, you can define your own password and PIN, and for sure you should change this 1234 by default password and PIN. So I will show you where to do this. These security things, I think so, it's done here. No, it's in server configuration, sorry. Here, server configuration is where you can change your password and PIN for TLS connection to this server, to whatever client that would like to connect to our server. So this is your secret keys, passwords and PINs, different things for this configuration. So then it's not the case. We need local connections, okay? And I will just open. And what is happening here that I am asked to put my user and password. You remember the users and passwords were created using, in the web manager. So we have my admin and change me, and change me. So then I can log in. In this case, opening the last project I opened before. I will show you this project afterwards. But what I want to do now is to create a new project. So what I'm going to do is not editing this. We'll show you this example later on, but I will create a new project. And the new project, I put a name. The date of today with Visu, for example. So you can define a page size for this project. So look that it could be 4K, HK. So resolution is not a problem, or even more user defined. So it's almost unlimited, the possibilities, because we have an auto zoom for the edition. And if you are using elements, vectorial graphics like SVGs or AutoCAD files or whatever, it's possible to have whatever size. If you use non-vector vectorial graphics, it's a bit more complicated, but you can select whatever resolution you may need. I will put this Ultra HD, UHD default. And well, also the font can be different. So you have a lot of different fonts: Arabic, Hebrew, Japanese, Baltic, Thai, whatever. So there's, I will use the normal Latin, West European Latin. And if I say OK, and ask it for the connection. Local connection. And I am also asked again for permissions. Okay, I will give permissions. Super administrator. I repeat, the password is, I will write it here, change me is the password. Okay, so of course you should change this password if necessary. These user rights are configured in the web manager. That was a tool we were dealing the previous days. Okay, I have permission, so I am allowed to start designing my project. So first to do, create a page. Well, pages is really sophisticated. Also, you can create different pages and you can define pages as a master, for example. So you have a menu that you want to appear in many pages. You only have to do it once and select this page as a master page, and then you refer the rest of the pages to this master page, so you can only do things once. But in this case, I will do normal things, not special things here. Home page, it will be the name for this. Okay. The page color can be changed, the page size can be changed, but I would say okay by default. So I get this default page. So about the different windows you have here, there is a lot of windows, but most of them are really interesting. But one of these is especially interesting for us. This one, the variables page, I will use a lot this, because variables, and then I will show you knowledge base, and my colleagues can give you the link for this. The knowledge base, you will have information about the variables. I will show you now. I'm opening the knowledge base in a different screen, but I will show you when I get these variables for visualization. Because you have seen the concept of variable in the web manager in other sessions. It was easy if you wanted to refer the floor number, the room number, or the light definition, for examples about this. We created variables with a specific name. So, but in the visualization, variables can be more sophisticated, because we can have variables refer to pages, variables to groups. Variables refer to the object itself. I will try to explain several of these. We have a lot of different variables. So you have a lot of tutorials explaining, or some tutorials explaining what are these concepts of variables. But you can see variables for runtime substitution. This we can also use for libraries variables, but I will focus on this. We have a lot of different variables. So it's also, the syntax is the same. It's open a key and the variable name, but specifying before the type of variable. If it's a master variable, if it's a group variable, a layer, page, we will use pages the first time, page variables, object variable, depending on the current graphic object, it's also possible. Item property variable, so character code for example, to get a new line. I will use many of these in my examples, okay? System variables also, variable for the text's mathematical expressions. I have used a lot of this. Translation key for showing different languages depending on a specific specific value of the language of the user. We also deal about this when we talk about the GRMS module, the My Smart Suite module, when we were asked to insert the name of the user, of the guest, and the language of the guest. With this information, the language of the guest, we have a table with different texts, and we can use these texts. And this variable is for this, no? to define this as a possible translatable text with this key value that is the language of the user. So a lot of possible variables. It's growing and growing and growing number of variables. It's really, really sophisticated, but it helps a lot. Looks complex, okay? I understand that it looks really complex, but you will understand that it's not so complex to use. We have this. I can, in fact, if my colleagues haven't put the link on the, but yes, actually it's always on the fly we're doing this and copy pasting this. So I'm going to show you, I will explain now the different windows that we have here for the design of my project, but I will start doing the project using variables from the scratch. So you will see how in 2 sessions we can do really nice visualization to control all the rooms in the hotel and all the elements in the room, including things related to the web management, like the alarms that we configure. We can also create some calendars for the lights. We can also have some trendings for the temperature already created. So we can use everything also related to variables. So a really, really nice visualization created in only a few minutes, okay? It lasts less than it will take to me because I have to also explain to you. But if you have to do the work, it takes a few minutes if you understand how to use the variables. But the most important thing to remember is we will be able to do this. We was thinking about the proper item structure using the alias, mixing different technologies using the alias in order to have them, all these items, easy recognizable, we can say. Easy to recognize these items because of the number of the floor, the number of the room, or whatever element, or the identification of the circuit, for example. 3 different things that can change: number of the floor, number of the room, or the circuit name. So these 3 things can be also used with the variables concept. So let's start dealing about different windows. First, variables. You will see these variables are, this window is dynamic depending on what I am selecting in my edition. I will see variables for the page, or variables for a layer, or variables for a group, or for an object, and I will take advantage of this. As you can see, I have some default variables created for pages: floor ID, building ID, room ID. I normally do this manually, so NETx automation visualization software is offering us this, because it's really normal to have floor IDs or room IDs, but it's okay. I will create my own variables for this, but we can use this. Workspace variables, it's also possible. For example, the language is a workspace. It doesn't mind the page. It's for the whole project. We can have a different language, for example, variable, project ID. We will take a look on this, but these are created by default, but we can create our own for sure. Okay, so this window, variables for the pages, is really important. There is another window interesting about layers. So you can see here layers. You can move all these windows, no problem. You can adapt the windows. As you can see, the visualization is has an auto zoom. See, if I move the windows, the main view is adapting to my new layout. So it's interesting because the layers created by default are only two: default and background. And what we can do with layers, a part of creating whatever kind of layers I am interested in to create, it's the properties of the layers directly, if you can edit or visualize. So you have a pencil and you have an eye, a sort of eye, for edition mode, yellow color, and for runtime mode. Runtime mode, it's possible to edit, it's possible to see. So it's interesting because you can change on the fly, very easy, these kind of things. I will show you afterwards with some examples. You can also refer to variables. The layers can also have variables. And this flag means what is the layer now we are working with. So if I insert whatever control here, it will be inserted in the layer that flag, in this case, the default layer, as you will see. So I will work with this element afterwards. Groups will be also used for us because we will create pop-ups, for example. If I have 10 or 6 lights in my room, as we will have, remember, we will have the hall light, the bathroom light, bath light, left and right for the lamps near the bed. There is a ceiling light and a bed light. The ceiling and the bed light are dimmable, but the other 4 lights, hall, bathroom, left and right, are just on-off lights. These 6 lights, if I put controls for the 6 lights, these controls to turn on, off, or even with sliders for the dimmers and so on, these controls will use a lot of space in my page. So what I can do is to use only a centralized control for every light, every of these lights, so only one control, generic control, as a control. So what I have to do is just selecting the light I want to control, press the lamp, and then there is a pop-up that permits me to control this light. So for this, I need to group some elements and then declare these elements as a pop-up, but also create variables because the lights are different. So I have to change the name of the light depending on the variable values. I will explain this, okay? But groups will be useful for this, okay? To group elements, graphically fix it, for example, you use groups. But if you want to create a pop-up element, a window that it's like a widget that appears to whatever control for lights or for shutters, it's also possible to do with groups. So variables, layers, and groups are basic windows that we also have already always. I have an element here inserted, so you can see here an object properties window, really interesting also, because there are some values for this element. If I select it, I have the values. All the information related to this element is here. A name for this object, the type and page where it is placed, the layer where it is, if it's visible or not. You can hide or show opacity also if it's in a specific group. The custom tooltip that is very interesting. If I say hello, there is a custom tooltip here that says, oh, okay, we will use this also because it's really important to have this, or to inform the customer what is this element to do, for what is this element intended for. You can include text or whatever. I normally don't use extend the tooltip, okay, but it's also very interesting because we have not only fixed values, but also runtime logic values. So the visibility of the element could be related to an item or to a variable, the position, the size, the rotation, so the angle. It's possible to modify these values in runtime, for example. I have to put a variable. If I do here, fixed values are for this. So you can change the angle from 0 to 360, of course. If I put 360, it's like vertical, it's like 0. So, and I also correct it here, but it could be dynamically change the rotation of the object, okay? So these object properties are really interesting also, but I will normally only touch the tooltip to customize the tooltip. You will see this. So different windows, of course, but the most important is the catalog, the object catalog. I have the possibility to include labels, image, buttons. I will use a lot this button area, also very useful if you want to change to a specific page or you pop up a window, we will use link areas. It can be done also with buttons. It could be done also with polygons, but link area is also very useful. I can integrate URLs, for example, from internet pages or cameras. Internet is just a URL that you can include in the. I can use a multi-picture element that is really important graphically, because if you have a shutter and you want to show the position of a shutter, you can use different pictures and include all these pictures related to different position of the shutter, for example, in this multi-picture. So you can have dynamic objects using multi-pictures. We will show this. Multi-text is the same. Depending on the value of whatever element, you can change the text that is shown. For example, if you have a CO2 meter about the CO2 level, you can show in different text and colors if the quality of the air is good, average, poor, bad, or you are going to die or whatever, depending on this level of CO2 runaway you can put. So you can write whatever text you may need. So all these elements, if I insert this element, has their own configuration. Okay, there is a specific window for this multi-text element, for example. So you can put here the item ID that is going to be monitored. Okay, and then, for example, here different texts, up to 10 texts. And the text, you can change the font and the color. As you can see, there is a lot of different configurations, whatever things configuration, and then what is the value for this text, whatever. So this, I'm not going to lose time now, but this just to show you that every single element has its own configuration. You can change from one element to a different one on the fly. So you don't have to change to cancel and open. It's changed dynamically. So if you, what is my other element? Here. If you want to change, you just press and the window, the configuring window is changing on the. So it's saving time also. So catalogs, general elements, all these things, multi-text, multi-internet also, for example, to show different cameras depending on a value. You change the number of the camera you want to show, and so it's changing the URL. A combo box is a drop-down list, so you can select, for example, imagine a room thermostat, and you want to change the no comfort, standby, echo, and protection mode, for example. So it's just selecting these values, and then the element is sending the different values. A polygon to use as a link area is the same idea. It's the same element, but the link area is rectangular, and it's not possible a special layer, special form of the office or whatever. And a polyline is just to have a line that can have a special form. A lot of elements, okay, functional, some elements about functional RGB controls, a lot of buttons, but this is a bit of age of the old visualization, but it's sometimes are useful, these kind of buttons, different sliders and gauges about metering or runtime information to represent, and of course a lot of libraries that thousands of controls on different kind of controls for controlling whatever. But let me tell you that it's totally customizable, so you can create your own buttons with your own images. Okay, I will show you how to do this, but there is a lot of elements that you can use in different colors. This is color. There's about 100 buttons per library, but you have a lot of different colors, about 20 colors to use. But not only this, you can create your own library. So you can have your own libraries about lamps, about tools. Well, this is for NETx as new things. But for example, training, it's my creation. I to show you something. A test for control shutter generic. For example, this is I did some time ago. You can control, it's in Spanish as you can see, but I create this. I put the background, put this label, all these buttons using the libraries, status multi-picture for status of the height status, lamella status, and so on. So so I will delete this. Okay, and you have a lot of possibilities with different libraries you can use. Online training, binary group, curtain group, teaming group. So I will use such kind of controls, but I will show you how to create these controls. So, but you can store it and reuse it for any kind of project, as you can see. So your work can be optimized. Okay. So there is a lot of different libraries about DALI. That this is an old library of training in Spanish, but we will do all this work. Okay. I have to review all my libraries because I have a lot of things that I am not using. Also HVAC 3D. It's a really interesting library for 3D controls, but this is not included in the normal installation. But we will also show HVAC example using this special library for HVAC systems. Okay, and another HVAC library with just multi-pictures and picture buttons. Well, more or less sophisticated, let's say, but there is a lot of possibilities. But the question is that normal people is creating their own controls, because each button or every button can be designed. We can select whatever icons for the different states. So I will also show you some examples. But the most important thing you have to remember is that this is totally customizable. So you can create your own icons, your own libraries, you can reuse it. It can be dynamically assigning the data points, because we can use templates for the blocks for the libraries also. Well, it's really really possible to do whatever we can, but we have to use this editor to do all these things. So let me start finishing with the window overview, okay? And because we have other windows that maybe are interesting, we have data points. We can search that about data points. I normally don't use this window, okay? And we can see the item tree if it's necessary. Normally we don't need to see the item tree, but it's possible to assign an item to whatever. You can drag and drop an item to whatever control, but it's normally necessary because you have the possibility to see the items when you open an element. It's not necessary to see the item tree all the time, but as you can see, this is my project. If I go to alias, I see my element. So this is a client that is connected to the server directly. Okay. Another Windows object tree. It's also interesting sometimes. The object means my pages and my elements in the pages. So this object tree, so I will make it wider, is my page and my element. So I can also change the name of this element. Okay, the type of element, if it's inside a group, which layer, if there is a specific text on it, if it's visible or not, you can select it here. So the object tree sometimes is useful, but again, it's not the most useful window to have here. So you can hide or show whatever windows you may need. Okay. Item properties is what we had in the BMS. So about the item properties is about the properties of the element from the item tree. So again, not totally necessary. And system message for the visualization. If you want to have system message here, have information about the visualization, but in my opinion, again, it's not the most important windows to have. So no search data points, no item tree, for example. So with these windows, we will start the explanation. So I will put here a background image. This element, get bigger, but it's not necessary to do this. Just to select a picture. So I will try to find some examples we have for the training. I will create a background, a hotel background. So let me try to select this. Homepage, the background homepage. I apply, so you start to see what is the background, but we need to fix to the top corner and left, top and left corner, and also the size. I don't remember the size of the page. Let me check. Yes, that's it. 1120, the width, and the height 1080. And the layer can be changed, background. Okay. Okay, this layer, maybe I insert some element and it was created, one of the elements I created or whatever, I will delete it. So this is my layer, but this background, so I cannot move this element because the background edition permissions. If I select this tick, then I can move it, as you can see, because now it's editable. Okay, if I unselect this tick, it's this box, it's not possible. So this is my home image. Okay, let me show you, put a label here and say this is my hotel. Okay, it's a text, a label, and the text is NETx hotel, for example. The size or the font can be changed, of course. I will not change, it's Arial is okay. The size could be auto size. So depending on the size of the label, we get bigger or smaller label. Okay, auto size. It's possible to use auto size in most of the labels. Okay, these labels can be also used for different things. For example, label. Again, instead of text, we have different things. Could be an indicator, for example, to show me the external temperature. It's possible. Date and time, okay. Or it could be, so a label could be, for example, to change the set point. You can press on the label and you have a keyboard to select the value, and so you can use it as a control. But for example, as date time, at date time, I can also select auto size and just showing you date time. This label as a date time indicator by default should be like this. To see the information, and then I will do this for the first time, I have to press the runtime button. Let's see what is the result of this first approach for my design. I press start, so I am forcing a sort of runtime, so I get this date and time. Okay. This can be also formattable. The format is possible for all these labels. So I will show you also, and this is very important because we can get the format of the labels. The format text can be formatted here. So format is open a key, 0, 2 points, and then we can create a format. For example, I want to use only or show only the year. And only the year is there. So it's possible. Or maybe the year, but also, or for example, only the day. If I just put D, it's only the date. Double D is only the day. Triple D is viernes. Viernes is Friday in Spanish. This is Windows. My Windows is Spanish, so you see. 4Ds is viernes. It's Friday, and 5D makes nonsense, nothing. So this is the possibles for the. But you can also put here an iPhone and double T and the month. Maybe it's month is N. No, what is yeah, capital M, because the M is the minute, but capital M is the month. Year, not capital. If you put only one Y or two, it's only 24. But if you want 2024, you put this. So it's totally editable. So hour, minutes, seconds, totally editable. Okay. This is the format. You open a key, 0, 2 points, and then whatever format. I think all these formats explain somewhere in the knowledge base. I'm not sure, but it's related to a specific programming language, I think so. But Akshay can tell us in the chat what is the link for these possible different formats and so on. Normally, we are not formatting the data. Normally, we do not do this. Okay, we need to format different labels like a temperature or something like this. So, for example, if you want to represent here the external temperature, I will again use a label, but I will copy paste because it's also possible copy pasting a label, and then here I will just represent an indicator. That's also a third application for thank you, Akshay. Very important to have this kind of information on the fly in the chat. So a sort of indicator, for example, to show you the temperature of whatever room. Well, external temperature would be perfect, but we don't have this information in our BMS because I show you, but from my home BMS. But we can try to put whatever temperature. It doesn't mind. I have in aliases very fast and room 1 my temperature. So I will show you the temperature of the room here. So this is the item to monitor. It's very interesting because we can also have a minimum or a maximum value to fix here. So normally you will see, I will not include this formatting now here, okay? But afterwards I will show you what happens if you put here this, because in the appearance of the temperature, so that is not this information, of course. You can also have when the false is when you have a false value, so outside of that limits that you put here, false value means this, a limit, it's out of these limits, then you can put a different background and text color to indicate that this value is out of the limits. Yesterday I showed you, maybe you don't remember, but I showed you, it's in the videos, a visualization from my home. And there was a pop-up explaining a lot of information of the electrical systems in my house. And many labels were with these backgrounds and these things. It was not just normal texts. Some of these labels were strange because they were out of range, for example, differential current or something like this, maybe. But we can see now. Format for my temperature. If you want to put a text like temp or something like this, you just write the text. And then if you want to do a specific format, you open this 0 to points, the key and 0 to points. And then the format, if you want, for example, the temperature with 2 decimals, you put 0 dot, and 2 decimal is hash 0. If you only want 1 decimal, 0.0. But if you want 2 decimals, 0 hash 0. Close the key, for example, and put here the Celsius degrees. So let's see the result. I will apply, okay, and start, because if I don't start, I don't get the proper information. Now it's listening a specific value. Okay, this text is fixed, this value is not fixed, and with 2 decimal. Okay, the tooltip, here it is, the tooltip. I can change this tooltip because I'm not interested maybe to have all this information. So I can change the tooltip. I will show you. If I select here, and if I put here whatever text, imagine external temperature. Now the tooltip will be just this. So in runtime, my tooltip is this, not all the definition for the item or whatever. So it's possible to customize the tooltip. Also dynamically, to include information in the tooltip that I will show you. But this is just a first approach. Okay, you can use a label as a fixed text for the date and time, or for whatever value you want to show in a format way. Okay, the format, it's possible, and this is always a typical question: how can I put the format and not to show all the all the decimals of a value, whatever? Okay, you can do it with this format: 0 to points, and then you apply the format you can see in the knowledge base also. Okay, let's start now with, because this first session is coming to the end. I will extend 20 minutes more, but we need time to do something that is interesting to see. So let me go to the next part of the visualization. This is the hotel. Let me say you, this part of the left building is my hotel. Okay, the rest of the things are other things, but my hotel has 4 floors, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, and 4 floors, we can say. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now trigger another page depending on the floor I will press with the button each of these floors. So my building, my visualization will go to a second page that is for each floor. Okay, so I need another page. I will create another page, new page, floor. But you may think, okay, you have to create 4 pages for the floor: floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, and floor 4. And I will tell you, no, you will now see the magic of the visualization and the magic of the variable concept. Floor is only 1 page, and it doesn't mind the floor. It will be useful for us for all the floors. So if all the floors are the same layout, we can do this. Only 1 page for the floor, and then you will see the magic. This is my new page. I will include an image again, double click, and I will edit. Okay, let me try to find here first the image. Okay, this all this information will be shared with you. Okay, examples that we have. The plan, this is the one I will use, but with a specific size related to the position, and with this size, this is my plan, and it will be in the background. That's great. So this is my plan for any floor. So how to do this? Let me put here a label, and then let's start dealing up labels. Okay. Next, this will be floor, whatever floor. So the first thing I have to do is to create a variable. I have one variable here that it's floor ID, NXA floor ID. Let me, it's a page variable. So this variable is related to the pages. Let me simplify it. F for floor, okay, F. I don't need, this is not needed for me in this page, and this is also not needed for me in this page. I want to simplify. F for floor. Let me put in cap F. My variable is F. That's okay. So what I have to do here to represent whatever floor we are is to signify that this is a page variable called F. Of course, this syntax, you don't have to remember this syntax. You can just copy var link here and paste. So it's automatically generated by the system. you don't have to remember. But if you know, you can do it manually. PG for page variable. This is a variable called F. Well, by default, it was NETx floor number or something like this. But okay, F is floor name for this page. Okay, auto size, and then this is a label that will indicate if I am in floor number 1, 2, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, or 0, 4. But it's a unique page for every. So then, if I go home page and I put here whatever element to trigger this new page, I have 3 possibilities. Okay, it could be a link area is the most typical thing. So link area should be like, okay, you have a rectangle here, try to fix shape of the floor in the 3D image. It's not easy, but just double click with this element and it offers you different options, but go to page, change layer visibility and group visibility for pop-ups. In this case, I have to use it for go to page. And what is my page is floor. And what happens with this page? That it has a variable called F. So then you can give a value. And then when you press, you are giving value to this variable. So it will show you floor, the value you have here, 0.1 or 0.2. Depends on the element you're selecting. But let me show you another way to do this. I will not use a link area because the shape of my background of the floor is not exactly rectangular. It's a bit more complex. So I have polygon for this. Polygon is an element that you can select dots and fix, sorry. Again, polygon, I select dots and I fix the shape I like this. When I finish, double click. So I have an element that is more accurate for the shape of the building, more or less. It's not perfect, my design now, but it's go to page, and then yes, I can tell go to floor. Even I can select different views. So I will say in a different view, I want to open this new window, so you will see, and then give a value to this. So normally we should say, yes, I want to use this and give you value 0.1. It's the name of the, but I will do this a bit more perfect. Instead of fixed value, what I am going to do is to create a variable for this object. You will understand this. This object here appears in the variables page, giving me the possibility to create a new variable. Okay. Let's say whatever ID, for example, the ID for the object. This is whatever name of the variable. And then here I give the value. The value is 0.1 for this object. What I am doing this because what I'm going to put here is the variable itself. So it's a variable with a value that is giving value to another variable. It's an object variable giving values, this value 0.1, to another variable. Why I am doing this? Because in the tooltip, same. I want in the tooltip of this element doing go to pay to floor, and then I put here this object. Okay. So when I copy paste, for example, this element, I can copy and paste it. I don't have to change the tooltip, for example, because the tooltip is generic. It's related to this object. I just have, for this second one, maybe to adjust shape of this, and instead of 0, 1, this is 0, 2. This is the only thing I have to do. So copy paste. I have a third one. I just have to move these buttons of my shape. The border will be released now, so we can quit this border. And then this is 0, 3, 0, 3, and the last one is this. So this is my element 0, 4. And I only have to do it here, not the tooltip. The tooltip is generic. Finally, I will quit the border of all these elements. The border was useful to see the limits of the polygons, but it can be eliminated. So what is happening now is that I have some invisible elements, and what happens if I select runtime, you will see we are starting to give values to variables. But the tooltip is working also. If I press go to floor 4, what happens? A new window is open with floor 04. If I press this, it's floor 03, and this is floor 0, and this is floor 01. But I am not just doing some static thing, changing the name. I am giving value to the variable. So this is very important, because in the next step, I will give value to the room number. Next step will be from here, select the room. I have 4 floors. In this case, I have 2 rooms. Imagine this is the first room of every floor, and the second room here. It could be up to 20 rooms or whatever, but we have 2 rooms example. But we are giving to the floor number, and we'll give value to the room number. So for our items in the room, they will get that value. So let me show you the next step, and then after finishing this, I will stop session. Next step is to go to the room. We will select here whatever room we are. So let me create a page, room, but I don't need to create a page for every room. So imagine I have 4 floors, but it could be 100 floors with 100 rooms per floor, 10,000 rooms, only one page. If the rooms are same aspect, we only create one page for this room. If you have 3 different kind of rooms, okay, you have to create 3, but it's not a problem. An image for the room. Click. Okay, from this corner with this size in the background layer, but of course, specific image on it. We have a room background that we use for the trainings. Perfect. So we have my room. And then I will put a label indicating what is the room, which room it is. But I need variables again. Indicate which floor and which room it is. I will use, in this page we have again variables by default. I will only need my floor and my room. These are different variables than the other page, because this is a different page. I call it the same way, but they are different variables. But I will engage one with the other. Floor and I am simplifying an error for you to understand, but because if not, it's a huge text when you have a label. But it's floor and room variables. So here in my label, I just will say this is the room. Copy var link, whatever floor, copy var link, whatever room, or you can write it manually. Room 101, 01, 02, depending on the values that will take. So we will give values to the floor number and the room number. Important for this label, but moreover important for items. The items identification, the items IDs include 0101, 0102, the room number. So you will finish to understand why I am using the access with this structure, with this name of the rooms, with this structure. So let's go back. Let's go back. Now I am in floor page. And I have to trigger to go to the first or the second room of the floor. Or if you have more than two, fantastic. But this is a different page. Remember, we only have one variable here, and in the other we have two. But this is room whatever 01. Okay, let me put here a text that says this is room whatever floor variable 01, because it will be 01 for all of this. Let me put here this label. It's just for indicating me this. We can use the tooltip for this, but it's okay. Room whatever 01, and a copy, and this is room whatever 02. Okay, this is just for indicating what we're using. And I will now put here the element to trigger the new page. That is, in this case, it could be a link area because this is rectangular, so it's perfect. Link area is perfect for me. And it's above this first element because the order, it's the last element is on top of the previous one. If you want, you can move, of course, move down, move up in terms of layers of position, but it's okay. It should be on top of this. So again, I will create a variable for this object. Interesting ID, whatever. Interesting to show you will be a value 01. This is the room number. And the tooltip will be go to room, and I put this variable, number of the floor, it's a page variable, and number of the room, that is a specific variable for this object. So it's the tooltip can be really sophisticated. Let me finish. Go to room, whatever and whatever. Page variable, object variable, give me the information that comes from the first page. What was floor we are, what is the number of the room I am indicating with this. So it's really nice because we are also in the function of this element has to be go to room, okay, in another view, the third one. We can have up to 3 views. And yes, I am going to use these variables. What is the name of the number of the floor? It is a variable that came from the previous page. So we can put here this. What is the room of the number? I have used another variable. So the tooltip and the number of the room will be in the same step given, will be given in the same step. That's it. Okay, it's a bit, you may think, but it's not. It's not. I'm just time, let's say. So I will copy and paste this element. So I have for the two rooms And the only thing I have to change in order to get the right tooltip and the right number of the room is change it in the ID of this variable. Okay. So finally, I will again is the no border not needed, border not needed also here. So what we have to do is to check if it works or not. So home, we need to give values from the scratch from the beginning. So this is always necessary in this case. But let's see. Remember, we are giving values thanks to the variables, giving values not only to the texts, to see you are going to whatever floor or whatever. So let's go. Floor 1, okay? New page for the floor 1. And then it seems that it works. What happens with the tooltip? Go to room, whatever, go to room, whatever. Let me change the floor. It works fine. It works fine. It changed. And let me press this button. What happens? I go to a third page, that is the room 0201 or the room 0202. Let me number 4 and select, okay, I change the room. So it works perfectly. But the best thing, and I will open the camera and show you again the practical boards, because we can also play with the, let me, I hope you can see the camera well. So I will open the camera afterwards. Now, and I finished now the explanation. We had a button, you may remember a button. Let me select it's a bit awful, but it is enough to test. We have a button, you remember? This is the typical button just to switch on off using whatever item. It's just a first approach, okay? We have central off for the lights of every room. I just want to show you this. This is my item, but what if I change these values with variables? Because I have variables indicating which floor I am and which room I am, okay? So if I use variable for this element, the item has the right name and structure to give me this possibility, because I changed not only for room 0101, but for whatever room you give me these values, I am giving you this with this. So let me show you, and then we can just stop the session because 10:30. Let me show you. I put this and I open the camera. I'm not sure if you're going to see well the board. Hope so. I will start selecting floor. And selecting a room, the first one, for example. So the camera is starting, okay? Take some seconds. And then we will press the button. Of course, you can create a template for a project. You can, and now it's the camera. Yes, please. It's only a few seconds. Yeah, we have the boards, okay? So room 0101. It works. On and off. Let me change the room. We go to room 0102. What happens? That what we control is this. If I change the floor, for example, floor 02, what I control is this room. So as you can see, and this is fantastic, I only create one page for any room. So you have the control, or you can see, you have a visibility of whatever part of the building, but this is thanks of the structure of the items. So you now understand why I was so intense, trying to do it proper work with the items before, because you will save a lot of time. So that's all for now. For this first session, we will continue doing really much more interesting things, but now you know the basis of this idea of the variables. I'm giving value to the floor, I am giving value to the room. Now I will be including in the next sessions next elements, not these kind of awful buttons. I promise to do it much, but it's just for you to understand that we do a small job, but we get a great result. So thanks very much. See you in half an hour again to continue with this part of the visualization.